Hey there, Parker Reed here, and welcome to PR Media, your home for everything movies and music through my eyes. And today we're going to be talking about a little bit of a different topic. Today we're going to be talking about the popular movie reviewing site Rotten Tomatoes and how people and news publications are using it in an incorrect way. So when films are released or just back catalog films are reviewed, a lot of people turn to a popular site called Rotten Tomatoes. And people usually point to a movie's percentage score on Rotten Tomatoes, saying like it has a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes or has a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. And movies proclaim that they are certified fresh if they have a 60% or higher on that scale, and that's often a determining factor of a movie's quality in the public's eye. But what a lot of people don't know about Rotten Tomatoes is that percentage score is not a determining factor of the movie. It's not saying if a movie has a 71% that needs a 7.1 out of 10. It means that that's the percentage of people who gave it a positive rating on that site. So in theory, a movie could have a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes rating, but have an average rating of a D-. That is perfectly plausible, and sometimes that happens, and that's where things start to go a little bit awry. I think Rotten Tomatoes is a good tool to be used in context, but an average rating on Rotten Tomatoes is a better thing to look at, or an average rating on sites like iMDB, like saying a movie has an average rating of 8 out of 10 on iMDB, but only have like a 65% Rotten Tomatoes. That would make people think the movie is worse than it actually is, when in reality, that's just a percentage of people who gave it a positive score. So I don't like that that's the end-all be-all. I wish that average rating was the way that we marked movies of quality or not, because all too often movies that aren't that great end up getting a high Rotten Tomatoes score, and then the public's like, well, my gosh, what is happening right now? Like Wonder Woman 1984 is a good case of that. When that movie came out, it had an 80 or 90% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes because a lot of reviewers had gotten to it and reviewed it before the movies came out, albeit the percentage did drop heavily once viewers actually saw it and the public's opinion on it was raised. But people were saying, oh my gosh, it's so great, it's got this high Rotten Tomatoes score, it must be an awesome movie, when in reality, it's just not. There's often a disconnect between what reviewers think and what the public thinks, and that Rotten Tomatoes score is usually just based on what the reviewers think. It doesn't take into the public's opinion, as where ratings on iMDb and also ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, those take a little bit more into account what everybody thinks and not just a select group of reviewers who might be a little biased, and Wonder Woman 1984 is a great example of that. So the message of this video is simply don't use the Rotten Tomatoes percentage score as your end-all be-all for your mark of quality for movies. Look to other reviewing sites and look more to average scores out of 10 for your rating, because that is going to be much more of a determining factor of a movie's quality or not. I like Rotten Tomatoes, but I think it's just become way too much of a monopoly in the movie reviewing industry, and it's hurting films sometimes which are misunderstood and end up having a very poor Rotten Tomatoes score and not allowing the movie to be as successful as it could be. So be educated, be mindful, and use Rotten Tomatoes in context and understand that that percentage score is not its mark out of 10. It's just the amount of reviews that were a 6 out of 10 or higher. Thank you so much for watching this short little video. If you liked what you saw here, you can check us out on Facebook or Instagram, and like, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. My name is Parker Reed. You've been watching PR Media. Keep supporting physical media, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.